The Republican Party, since taking office, has gone on a defunding spree. They've defunded Planned Parenthood, they've defunded NPR and PBS, they've refused to cut defense. They refused to cut NASCAR. I didn't even know our tax dollars were going to NASCAR, but apparently some of them are. So, saving lives and preventing STDs is something the Republicans want to stop funding. Educational TV and radio is something they want to stop funding. War is something they want to keep funding. A bunch of inbred morons driving around in a circle is something they want to keep funding. In Wisconsin, the poor and the working class and the middle class have finally started to fight back against the Republicans. Tens of thousands of workers have taken to the streets to protest a plan by Governor Scott Walker to slash their benefits. But it's not enough. It's not enough. We're not fighting for our future. We're only fighting for our present. The right wing in America is like a tidal wave, and our cherished ideals are struggling to even stay afloat in their surge. This cannot be the order of things in America. If we're expected to survive the 21st century, this cannot be the order of things in America. This cannot be our value system. We cannot be bullied by the forces of hatred and tyranny, nor battered into submission by the wanton glorification of stupidity. We have sat idly by in complacence long enough. We have watched as our culture has been ransacked long enough. We have watched as our discourse has been hijacked for long enough. We have watched as our politicians have sneered at the Fourth Amendment and given the TSA the ability to violate every inch of our privacy as a prerequisite for traveling within our own borders. We have watched as our politicians have done everything in their power to silence WikiLeaks, an organization trying to give us what so many politicians have promised but failed to deliver: government transparency. We have watched as Obama has continued rendition, continued massive taxpayer-funded handouts to giant corporations, continued the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, continued the Bush tax cuts for the wealthy. We have watched as our populace is increasingly placated by smartphones and stupid TV. We have watched, and our hearts have sunk, and our rage has fizzled, and our defeat has become apparent. I'm speaking to you now as a man with no hope left, a man too filled with fear to function. I look at the world around me, and I see very, very little to brighten my spirits. It seems as though evil always wins. It seems as though the only choices that good has are to die fighting or just to die with a whimper. And if that's it, if there's no chance of victory, then why fight at all? Just die with a whimper. You're going to die either way. I look at my countrymen and I see people who are more concerned with American Idol than American freedom. I see people who are more interested in what new video games and what new movies are coming out next year than what horrific legislation is being passed today. People ignore politics in this country. They ignore politics because if they paid attention, they'd spend every minute being anxious, like me. And probably they would eventually collapse into total depression, like I have on several occasions. Meanwhile, the world that they count on, the world that they take for granted, is being eroded all around them. They'll all have an epiphany at some point. They'll look back and wonder, how did things get so bad? And I hope I'm around then. I hope I'm around to tell them it was them. They did it with their stupid inability to pay even passing attention to politics. And lest you think that I'm endorsing a world where everyone lives around activism at all times, I don't believe in that. Life is too short to spend all of your time worrying about building a utopia. We all need to laugh, we all need hobbies, we all need distractions. I need them too, you need them. Sure. But for so many of you, that's all your life is. It's a series of distractions. You're not even a real person anymore. You don't solve anything. You don't participate in anything. You exist to be distracted from your existence. You don't have an identity anymore, and no one took it from you. You gave it up. Because being a real person was just too hard. You know, read your fucking news every once in a while. Talk about something other than your own selfish bullshit every once in a while. Spend at least some of your life outside of the small box of distraction and diversion that you've created for yourself. I'm not asking you for much. Give me some inkling that you care about what's going on in the world. Give me just a small notion that you might someday get off your ass and fight for something larger than yourself. Just give me something to hope for. Give me something to believe in. Even if it's just a little something. Something small. That's all I want.